Welcome, everybody, to Adventures by D. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dean.
We are here to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. I hope everybody, episode 3 and 4, I should say, or part 3 and 4, excuse me. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday, June 11th. I hope the weather is as nice as it is where you are in Metro Atlanta. It's a gorgeous day. We had fun, went out and Barry picked earlier up in Orchard, North Georgia. We are Atlanta based. We are Adventures by D. If you don't know us, welcome in. Family friendly vloggers based in the Atlanta metro area. Cover theme parks, zoos, botanical gardens, any place there's fun to be had. We will be there. We do go to Orlando a lot. We just got back from Universal Memorial Day. Just put up 4 vlogs, Universal. So whether you'd like to see some cosplay, Maddie did a great job with Spectre. You want to see a hotel review, we did Universal. You want to see a food review, we did Mythos, the Greek Mediterranean restaurant. So check out our Universal playlist for all new updated content. So that's exciting. Um, so, Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. We've done 1 and 2. So, this is our bi weekly series. This is 3 and 4. And then 2 weeks, we'll wrap it up with 5 and 6. But oh my, do we have stuff to talk about for episode 3 or 4? I'll stop here and say, no, if you want to stay spoiler free, pause here and come back on Team Replay and watch 3 and 4. So we will be talking about episode 3 and episode 4 in a lot of detail. So I just want to give you a fair warning if you haven't seen it, because sometimes I have to wait a few days due to things to see it. So normally I don't want you to leave our stream, but if you haven't seen it, I'm respectful and don't want to share any spoilers if you want to see it on Disney Plus first. So fair warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Dean, let's talk about episode part 3. Obi-Wan Kenobi. What did you think about part 3 in general?
So I would say part 3 is definitely the best episode out of the 4 we've received so far. So I really liked it. I think that's a pretty universally agreed thing.
Well, part 3 also showed the return of you-know-who, which we kind of knew was coming, right?
Yeah, I mean, Darth Vader,
The Man in Black? Not Johnny Cash, right? It was
No.
Darth Vader. All right. And I thought this week we were going to add some visuals as we take you to episode 3 and 4, since we can't show any video because it's all copyrighted. I took a few stills, and we should be okay to show about 10. We'll walk you through some of the visuals from both episode 3 and 4. Hey, Movie Mania Nick, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Happy Saturday, happy weekend. Hope you're doing well. We recently saw Top Gun, so that's another discussion, but great. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right. So episode 3, Obi-Wan, part 3. I keep saying episode. They're parts according to Obi-Wan. So let's start with the visuals here, Dean.
All right. Well, first visual kind of got introduction of the episode of Obi-Wan and Leia on the cargo transport, kind of landing on Mapuzo, the mining planet. And we kind of start the episode off after Obi-Wan's escape in part 2 from Riva, and him and Leia stowaway on this ship to go down the path where they've taken Jedi and Force-sensitive survivors and hopefully give them a new life. So we see Obi-Wan kind of connects with Vader while meditating on the ship, and it's kind of like how Rey and Kylo Ren connect in The Last Jedi. I thought it was kind of interesting, the idea of a Force dyad kind of being brought back up.
Hey, Garrett, welcome in.
Welcome in. I like the idea of Force connections between two people who kind of have, I would say, some deeper connection, like a brotherly or sibling connection, but also in the Force, light and dark. I just really thought it was interesting how they kind of fleshed that out throughout the series, and especially the next episode. That's pretty big. And then we see Darth Vader in his suit being assembled, which was awesome to see. I mean, it's kind of similar to how they did in Revenge of the Sith. They even have the same sound effects and everything. And then, let's see here.
I think you could say that, Garrett. It is like the samurai for group therapy to be a warrior.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So we have, Vader and his fortress, kind of giving a bit of a command to Reva herself, telling her to catch Kenobi, and she knows the price of failure. Darth Vader's a pretty scary guy. Also, Vader's lenses, they're kind of important so far in the show, as like I guess a symbol. Is in Rogue One, he has the red lenses like he does now on Kenobi, which I think is kind of an interesting continuity thing they brought over to when he has the black lenses in the original trilogy. And they're kind of used, especially later in this episode with the fire, to kind of reflect Vader's thoughts at the moment. Another design thing is the tuning fork design that's used throughout a lot of the Vader Inquisitor architecture, like the scythe transport the Inquisitors have, Vader's castle, and the Grand Inquisitor's chair. They all have like this prong aesthetic, and apparently I think it was Doug Chang said that it's supposed to be like a tuning fork for the dark side. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I saw Doug Chang, pretty OG Star Wars guy.
Who's this guy, Mole Man here?
Well, basically after Kenobi and Leia get off of the transport, they kind of run around. They're kind of lost on Mapuza, trying to find the spaceport to get out of there. They meet the good old friendly neighborhood Freck, everyone's favorite Imperial, I guess, driver. But kind of interesting. He's a new species, obviously based off the Star-Nosed Mole, which I really liked. He's pretty funny too.
Is Seth Rogen voice him, or is it somebody else?
It's someone else.
Oh, okay. It kind of sounded like Seth Rogen.
Yeah, it's another, like, I'm pretty sure it's a comedy actor, but I don't remember who it was. I've never heard of them when I looked up their name. All right, another interesting thing about Vader is his voice is actually AI generated, kind of like how Luke's is in the new Book of Boba Fett season. We saw the first use of AI voices. I think I would say that's probably the first use. Maybe they use it for Tarkin. I can't really remember. But it's one of the most prominent uses. How about that? And they kind of brought it back for Vader, which I thought was interesting. I would not have known that unless in the credits it actually says like the company that helped them with this AI voice.
Hey, Dean, I forgot to mention at the beginning, you see at the scroll at the bottom, if you're just joining us, we are going to be on live again tomorrow. We're not usually on live back-to-back days, but we're excited to host Kelly from the Mickey Bunch in our Creator Corner series. We bring a channel on that we like to watch, and they kind of describe their YouTube journey and maybe get a favorite Disney memory, Universal memory, and then maybe a tech tip or two. So we started that a couple weeks ago with Tom from Vacationers podcast, and then we'll continue with Kelly here tomorrow at 7 p.m., same channel. So we're looking forward, excited to have Kelly on from the Mickey Bunch. Continue, Dean, sorry.
All right, so we see Obi-Wan and Leia kind of get stashed away on this transport, kind of realize it's Imperial, maybe he's in a bit of hot water now. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting point that Hayden Christensen is kind of like, so far his involvement in the series is kind of arbitrary. I'm not really sure why they brought him on because he hasn't done much. He's just been Vader in the back of the tank, like floating around
in a ton of makeup. So
yeah, you can barely even tell it's him, and he's not been in the suit. He's been in the suit for like maybe 2 minutes on screen. So I'm pretty sure they posted like pictures of the stunt doubles in the Vader suits online. It's Hayden is not in either of them, so it's presumed that he hasn't been in the suit at all in Episode 3, which is Vader's most prominent episode. So I'm assuming they're going to have like a Clone Wars flashback or something of that nature to actually like make it worth their while bringing Hayden on. Because I don't know why else they would do that. I mean, I guess obviously for the name, because he played Anakin, right? So I guess that would make sense. But I feel like it'd be such a poor like underutilization of a resource. Just because he's not a good. I don't think that's true anymore. I mean, if he was cheaper than the stuntmen, then why would they have stuntmen do all this work?
I think Barrett might have been kidding, Dean.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But yeah, you see, and he appears in Episode 3 too as like a vision to Obi-Wan, just very briefly. So I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to use him in like a flashback or maybe like the Vader's helmet is going to be broken, like in Rebels. We're going to be able to see a Vader / Anakin again, like what happened in Rebels, which was like a really awesome moment. So I'm assuming it's that or a flashback, or they just kind of wasted him. So we'll see.
So what are we seeing here? So they got in the transport with the mole man, and then we had a really awkward moment here. I'm gonna blow it up full screen.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan and Leia stashed on this transport. Some stormtroopers come up. They need a little lift from Freck, and they're kind of interrogating Obi-Wan and Leia because it's kind of suspicious of like what they're doing in the middle of a mining planet, just walking around. They kind of get their story mixed up, but they eventually clutch it up and they end up being fine. But another thing that's kind of persistent throughout the episodes is Obi-Wan comparing Leia to Padme, which he also does in the transport, even though it's not like readily apparent to anyone but Obi-Wan, but actually helps him kind of cover up his mistake. Let's see here.
Yeah, I think little Leia's the breakout star so far of Obi-Wan from what I've seen.
Yeah,
maybe her and the third sister. She's really good too. We're going to talk about her, but she's great. Both of them are great.
Yeah, I agree with that. She's really good. Yeah, classic Stormtrooper aim. I mean, it's a constant. If they hit, then what's the point? Let's see. We have.
Then they come up on the checkpoint.
Right, so they come up on the Imperial checkpoint. Obi-Wan's getting a little nervous, and Freck kind of rats him out. And, that he has a little bit of a shootout. The probe droid identifies him. A little too late for Obi-Wan. He blasts it. Kills a lot of the stormtroopers. One of them gets cut in half, which I wasn't expecting. I thought that was pretty cool. And, we've got a Darth Maul moment there, too.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could say it's a Darth Maul moment. Yeah, I don't have that still, but right after the still, the guy from the top there, that stormtrooper, I should say, from the top of the tower, gets blasted and falls on the lasers and does a fist best Darth Maul half off.
Yeah, Darth Maul half off. Then, Obi-Wan gets through the gate and he runs into a little bit of trouble. A couple stormtroopers, they pull up on him. Kind of worried he's not going to make it, and then Tala comes in and saves him, which is Haja Estri's contact that he was waiting for that he bailed on. So it was like a back-to-back surprise of Obi-Wan being found out by the probe droid and then Obi-Wan being saved by Tala.
I agree with that, Garrett. I don't want to see sad or confused Obi-Wan. I get some of that backstory, why you need it, but I agree with that. I do love some of the callbacks, though. We'll keep talking about them during this series, but here comes the giant probe droid.
Yeah, the Viper probe.
Yeah, like from first time Empire Strikes Back in Hoth, right? When they shot him in the snow. Yeah, I love all these callbacks. It makes me... I
don't even know if they're callbacks.
Well, whatever you want to call them. Good nostalgia there.
Yeah, so Tala kind of takes Obi-Wan into the town. You go next slide.
All right, next slide. I feel like I'm at work. Next slide.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan goes into the little, mining town. He meets Tala, kind of what she's doing, what her purpose is, and my favorite new character, Ned B, the absolute awesome loading droid. I really like him. I'm a big droid enthusiast, so I always like seeing the new droid, the Imperial load lifter.
I tried to get a good close-up, but some of these stills from the TV are dark, and I don't think I got a good one of the load guy here. He's kind of back in the first one, if you kind of right next in front of the ship.
Yeah, Ned B. That's not him, though. That's a different one.
Oh, it's a different... okay.
Yeah, it's close enough. Same guy. Same type.
All right.
So, Tala takes Obi-Wan and Leia to the Jedi hideout and kind of reveals the purpose of the path to him. And we get name dropped Quinlan Vos, which is a Clone Wars Jedi, which is something they appear to be doing a lot of Clone Wars references. And Quinlan Vos, he's a Jedi. He had his own episode in the Clone Wars, which is I was just really glad to see him. Maybe we'll see him later in the show, definitely possible. We didn't actually know his fate was not confirmed after Order 66. All we knew is he survived it. We don't really know that much else. But it was really cool to hear him name dropped. We also, on the walls, there's a bunch of Arabish engravings, and it name dropped a couple Jedi from Legends I didn't really know any of them. I just like when they bring in little bit of legend stuff for those fans out there that know their stuff.
Hey, whoever's listening and watching, Garrett and Nick, can you hear the background music? It's a new feature on StreamYard, and we have it playing low in our earphones. I'm just wanting to know if the audience can hear that background music playing pretty low. So let me know if you can hear it. No big deal if you can't, but it's a new feature, and we can hear it playing softly in our earphones. But love to know how you, the audience, if you can't hear it at all. Should just be pleasant background music on a loop. Sorry.
That's good.
It's tech time with Dave. Go ahead, Dean.
So we get a little more of Ned B, and we see Leia's connection with droids again because Ned B is a load lifter, so he doesn't have any vocal communication abilities because he doesn't really need to have one for his purpose, I guess. But Leia's like, what if he needs to say something, which is kind of how contributes to her character, to how she trusts droids like R2 and C3PO to finish off her mission. We see a couple of droids in the workshop, like a little bit of, I guess, cameos. We see a B2 battle droid hand, a bunch of protocol droid stuff, R2 units. My favorite part was the B2 battle droid hand. I like battle droids, so it was nice to see. We see, so Obi-Wan's hiding in the hideout, and the Vader and the Inquisitors pull up on him, and he's absolutely terrified. And, Vader kind of detects his presence and goes and chases him. And then
he kind of avoided Vader the first couple. I could have took 1,000 skills for the Vader montage, but I really just took one. But he kind of evaded Vader the first couple times. At least I felt he did. And then this is where he basically couldn't run anymore. Vader's force power has gotten more strong and a little bit more violent than what I remember.
Yeah, well, we're kind of seeing the mid-era Vader, who's a little more Anakin and Vader mix. Anakin is very unhinged, I guess you could say, and we also have the dark side of Vader, but not quite the older one from A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back, who's a little more reserved, who doesn't need to kind of prove himself. This version of Vader, he's mad. He's not happy. He's in anguish. He is just not going well. And yeah. So Obi-Wan kind of, I don't know, sacrifices himself to get Vader to chase him and to get Leia to safety. And we have a bit of a duel, I would say, with Vader and Obi-Wan. But obviously Obi-Wan is far underpowered compared to Vader because he hasn't used his lightsaber in like 10 years, which is understandable. It's very similar to the Bespin duel on Luke, or the duel on Bespin with Luke, how Vader is only using one hand to effortlessly attack his opponent, and Obi-Wan has to use both of his hands, and he's just kind of toying with Obi-Wan, and his true intention is revealed later, but it's very similar to the duel on Bespin, and we have like a direct connection when Obi-Wan kind of cuts the pipe to release the smoke, just how Luke did on Bespin, uses the smoke, and that part strikes back when Luke cuts the smoke. Vader says Obi-Wan has taught you well, which might be like a new callback to the Empire Strikes Back and Obi-Wan, like a connection, I guess I would say.
It was very one-sided, Garrett. I thought it's kind of pro. It's more of sad Obi-Wan, right? He did decent with the lightsaber of not using it, but his force power compared to Vader's is not close. I mean, look at them there. Vader's just picking him up from a ways away, and Obi-Wan's can't really do anything. So,
yeah, I mean, Obi-Wan, we literally saw his first use of the Force in a decade in the last episode of him saving Leia, and kind of continued that he needs to reconnect with the Force. It's kind of similar. A lot of Jedi Fallen Order stuff is being brought to the series. There's a lot of really big direct connections, especially with the next episode, which I will talk about soon. But it's kind of like the idea, one of the like prevalent ideas of the Force is once you haven't used it for a while, you have to reconnect with it to gain your powers back, which is exactly what we're seeing Obi-Wan do here. Obviously, he's out of practice with his lightsaber, which is why he's so bad at dueling. And Vader is like literally probably the most powerful user that's out and about right now of the Force, so it makes sense that it's one-sided. It wouldn't make sense if it wasn't. I mean, Obi-Wan would never put up a fight in this scenario in any logical manner.
Hey, if you're just joining us, if you're enjoying the content, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new, and leave us a comment. What do you want to see in Obi-Wan, the last couple episodes, which we will come back in a couple weeks and wrap it all up. But today, Dean and Dave, we're from Adventures by D. We're going to be talking about episode 3 and 4, and we're almost done with episode 3 here. This is the result of the fight here.
So it's kind of revealed, Vader's true intentions are revealed, that he wants to make Obi-Wan suffer as he did on Mustafar, how Obi-Wan made him suffer, cut off his limbs, set him on fire, but didn't even finish him to end his pain. And, he takes the vitrium and sets it on fire and drags Obi-Wan in it, which is exactly like what Obi-Wan did on Mustafar, how he let Anakin burn from the lava. They even have a very similar scream between Obi-Wan and Anakin in these on fire situations, which I thought was kind of a cool parallel. I don't know if it was intentional, but yeah, I thought it was cool. And Obi-Wan, he ends up getting away, and it reminds me of this quote from Darth Maul. I think it's when he's chasing Obi-Wan. I'm not sure if it's in Rebels or Clone Wars, but it's basically along the lines of, I've waited so long for my revenge, I can wait a little bit longer. The dark side users have fantasies, which is kind of what fuels them, like how Vader wants to get Padme back is probably his main, I guess, fantasy, you could say. But one of the other ones is making their greatest enemies suffer as they did, like how Maul makes Kenobi suffer in the Clone Wars by doing terrible things to him and the people he loves the most. We're kind of seeing Vader do that here, how he tortured Obi-Wan a satisfactory amount for the moment, but he will get his fix in, or so he thinks. And
Nick brought up an interesting point of kind of rushing this duel. I mean, it's only 6 episodes, so I was pretty sure, I didn't know for sure, Nick, that we would see some kind of Darth Vader duel again. But I'll take a duel every episode if it makes sense. To me, it wasn't as rushed as was kind of so one-sided. I didn't feel like Obi-Wan. I felt like Obi-Wan was just there to get crushed by Darth. I didn't feel like the story to me didn't feel like he had a near equal chance.
That's right, he doesn't.
Yeah, but if you go back to New Hope when he dueled Darth, except for the end, it's like it's not like he just Darth walked all over him, and he's a heck of a lot younger here.
Yeah, well, and we're going to see, this is kind of a problem I want to talk about with the idea of a binge versus the weekly releases. There's some problems that have arisen from this. It's kind of annoyed me to no end. I won't talk about that yet. But, I mean, I guess the duel was pretty short, but if it was longer, Obi-Wan would have died. And he would have gotten seriously injured. If he didn't, it wouldn't make any sense. And, you have to keep continuity with the New Hope. Obi-Wan isn't seriously injured. I was kind of surprised that they actually let him burn in this episode. With the bacta tank they did, it kind of makes sense. Now that they let him burn, you could just heal in the bacta, and so that wouldn't be like a problem with A New Hope and the Obi-Wan show. But I don't know. I guess the duel was short, but it wouldn't make sense if it was longer, because Obi-Wan would have died, and he can't die. But he did choke Obi-Wan, but he wanted to make Obi-Wan suffer. That was kind of the point of the scene, and setting him on fire. He could have just threw his lightsaber and killed Obi-Wan, but he didn't. He set the thing on fire and dragged Obi-Wan into coals. And he wanted to bring Obi-Wan back to torture him, but he didn't. He didn't really have the opportunity to. The fire's kind of in his way, but he wanted to bring him back and torture him and feel his pain.
Yeah, a slow-moving way of killing him. Yeah, like all the times they just could have shot Bond, but there's
the laser.
Yeah, the laser. All right, let's do it. Is that it for?
So I think that's it.
Yeah, that's episode 3. To me, bringing Vader back. I knew it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming, right? I would say it was a little bit awkward. As much as I'd love to see the duel, and as I said before, to me personally, it was too one-sided. But let me know if you don't agree in the chat. That's fine. What did you think of the whole episode 3?
I thought it was the best. I have a problem. I didn't care if it was one-sided. It should be, because we literally see Obi-Wan pick up his lightsaber out of a box in the middle of the desert, caked in sand. He has not touched that thing in a decade. He has not used the Force at all. That made plenty of sense to me.
Yeah, but if you're a Jedi, don't you have all that knowledge of how to use the laser, the the lightsaber in your head. It's like riding a bike, right? Or no?
You
you
can know how to use a sword, but if you haven't used a sword in 10 years, you're not going to be as good as you were 10 years ago. I mean, it's like if you were to play football now, you'd be out of practice. I mean, I'm sure you'd remember the club rip, but
ouch.
I mean, yeah, that's right.
Dean's bringing up my football days. We're getting serious now.
Let's give a little real life comparison.
Let's move on. I agree to disagree.
Yeah, sure.
Per Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah.
Agree to disagree. All right. Episode 3. So halfway through, let's get to episode 4. Just to welcome in if you're new. I'm Dave. This is my son Dean. We're Atlanta, Georgia-based, family-friendly vloggers. We'll do amusement parks, zoos, botanical gardens, a lot of Six Flags, a lot of wild adventures down at Valdosta. It's a great park. We also do some Buc-ee's, the Disneyland gas stations. We do some Stuckey's too. You should check out our vlog with Stephanie Stuckey at Six Flags from a couple months ago. What a treat it was working with her, and she was unbelievable to work with, and learned a lot about Stuckey's and her hard work to bring her family brand back. So watch that vlog if you get a chance to. That would be awesome. So let's move on to episode 4. Or part 4. I keep saying episodes, but they're part 4. We got Leia. Leia is taken by the third sister. And where did they go, Dean? Which planet?
Ner. They went to the Fortress Inquisitorius on Ner, the ocean planet.
Yeah.
So we start with Obi-Wan in a bacta tank, and he's connecting with Darth Vader again, like he did in the last episode, but it's more of a literal connection because they're in the exact same position. Of being in the bacta tank, this freaks Obi-Wan out. He hops out of the bacta tank, and it kind of helps explain how his burns are not present in A New Hope in any way.
So,
I'm good.
You're okay? Do you need the water over here, Dean?
No, I'm good.
All right.
So, Leia's captured by Reva in the last episode, and we see her brought to the Fortress Inquisitorius as a prisoner. And Reva tries her best to extract information, but she fails repeatedly. But we get a little more development on Reva, but I'm sure we'll get a little more too. But I think it was just nice. I'm expecting a full-blown backstory for Reva. I'm interested for what her backstory will be because I'm like 100% sure that they're leading up to and it's just like how she is in A New Hope.
Yes,
that she's pretty resilient.
This is very New Hope-esque. If you fast forward 20, 25 years, whatever the time would be for New Hope, when they have her captured before they go to the trash compactor, very New Hope-esque there to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I mean...
You wouldn't do that, right, Dean?
No, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
Leia's just cool like that. Even in New Hope, she lies about her home planet, Dantooine. That's a classic gag right there.
So Reva, I do enjoy that character. The more I see her, the more I like her. I didn't, I thought she was with the evil empire at first, so I didn't understand that she was really a spy. But I would like to see her backstory too, Dean. I agree.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I'd be surprised if they didn't do that. I would see here. You have a tough Leia in this. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty in character. I mean, Leia's a tough character. We see her in New Hope, like I just said. She's tough, and Obi-Wan, he's weathered. He's old, crickety, if you will. I mean, he's out of it. He's just not doing good. Also makes a fun contrast because especially in episode 3, Leia's doing all the talking to Freck when they get on the thing. Obi-Wan's saying not even a word. She has to tell him to say something, so they don't look that suspicious. So I think it's just like a funny contrast, but I'm sure Obi-Wan can get a little more pep in his step, and obviously it'll kind of lead up to his appearance in A New Hope, and I guess Rebels too. More likely Rebels and Twin Sons, an excellent episode of TV.
I don't think I mentioned when we're going through episode 4. If you stay tuned at the end of the stream, I am going to play the Star Wars A Galaxy Far, Far Away, the Disney Hollywood Studios full show. It's about 14 minutes. They quit doing it about 2 years ago. So it's on our channel. I'm going to play it with all the audio intact here at the end of the stream. So stay tuned. We'll see a pretty cool Star Wars show, which you can't see in the parks anymore.
Right.
Okay, doke, Dean. So Rava's there, and now she's trying to. I guess we got Obi-Wan. This
Yeah.
is the part where I saw him coming. I missed it live because I'd stepped away from the TV. When I came back, I watched it. This reminded me of when I think they had to go down and see the Gungans.
Yes, it's exactly like that in the Phantom Menace, where
Yes.
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon swim down. You even have a very similar rebreather that they wear, so it's just a little fun contrast of Obi-Wan swimming. And so, yeah, Obi-Wan kind of makes a plan with the people at the path, and they kind of come up with an idea of how to save Leia. Obi-Wan drops in the water, and he swims into the Fortress Inquisitorius. Beats up a stormtrooper. He's kind of sneaking around. Tala is walking around. She's, finding out information, kind of the eyes in the skies, if you will. A bit of a classic spy mission, I would say. And yeah, they try to find Leia, and then my favorite part of the episode is when Obi-Wan discovers the Jedi tomb underneath the Fortress Inquisitorius, because I'm gonna say the thing with Fallen Order is I think this episode is definitely my least favorite out of the series so far. I think it'll be a lot better if Jedi Fallen Order never existed, because it takes almost everything from this episode from that game. The whole plot is very similar to what happens in that game, which kind of made it less enjoyable for me because it was just like the same. And it's not like they're coming up with new stuff either, because they're bringing back stuff from the game. So yeah, even the swimming into the fortress is. I'll talk about that in a second. But the most interesting part was the Jedi tomb, because that's something brand new that we had no idea existed. That kind of completely surprised me, and we get to see a couple Jedi displayed in there.
I don't know if I have a still of that or not.
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm sure it's burned into your minds after seeing that. All the Jedi.
It is burned into my mind.
Just like they're kind of like encased in amber. I would say, kind of an idea presented to you, kind of make a mental connection. And we see a couple of Jedi. Most of them, we only are, I don't even know confirmed, but we're pretty sure about one of their identities. The rest we don't really actually know who they are. The one that's focused on first is Tara Sinube, which is actually a Jedi from the Clone Wars. He also gets his own episode. He kind of helps Ahsoka after she loses her lightsaber to a criminal, and they help track it down. He's kind of like if Yoda was big, but he was a pretty cool character. It's kind of sad to see him dead, especially since we literally got one episode with him and never saw him again. But he's still a cool character. I guess it's nice to know that he has some kind of end, some kind of recognition. Also, Clone Wars reference is always appreciated. We see a couple more. There's like some barbarian-looking guys, some very interesting costumes. We see one that kind of looks like one Jedi called Pablo Gil. He's the same species, but it's not confirmed. We don't really know that much about that Jedi. He was on the council, so I just interested to see if that was him or not. Also, the other one that we see is a Jedi youngling that gets focused on. I'm pretty sure it's the same Jedi, or one of the same Jedi younglings from the beginning Order 66 scene with the youngling that I think is Reva. So maybe there's that's going to come into the story later when we learn her backstory, is what my running theory is right now.
Cool. So who we got Reva and the third sister here, and I think the third sister is trying to figure out if Reva's lying or not. Which side she's
Reva's on. The third sister and Reva are the same person. That's her, and this is Tala.
Tala. I'm sorry. I said Reva before I meant Tala. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, but I would like to see both their backstories, I guess, to correct myself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I really would see Reva's. There's no way they're not going to give it to us. That's a future prediction, I'll say. So yeah, she's kind of suspicious of Tala. They're kind of having a little shenaniganizing going on, sneaking around the Fortress Inquisitorius, dodges stormtroopers. Obi-Wan uses the Force to distract some, just like he did in A New Hope. When he's trying to shut down the tractor beam, he uses the Force to distract them while they're talking about some random garbage. It's a running Star Wars gag. I would say this episode is very Star Warsy. It's like a classic Star Wars adventure. Takes a lot of cliches, but it's so fun.
And then we have Leia down here about to get tortured.
Yeah, that's right.
As we know, we're not going to see any kid get tortured on Disney Plus.
Reva gets taken away, and then Obi-Wan shuts up the lights and attacks the two stormtroopers, which actually is an interesting parallel between one of the Force Unleashed trailers from back in I think it was like 2014. They had a trailer with almost the exact same cinematography, and the actor Sam Witwer, who now plays Darth Maul and he's also Star Killer, kind of pointed out. I think it was on Twitter or something. I saw that. And I thought that was really interesting. That was very similar to this trailer from like 8 years ago. But yeah, Obi-Wan rescues Leia, and Tala kind of escapes suspicion. And they kind of Obi-Wan kind of gets his Jedi skills back. He's having a little lightsaber swinging action. He does the back jab, deflecting the laser bolt. We got those new secret droids. They're actually probe droids. They're called secret droids. The new things in the Fortress Inquisitorius. They're a brand new type of droid. I thought I recognized them, but I looked it up and they're not known what they are. So I always like new droids. Droid fan here.
You are a big droid fan. I'll say that. You always have been.
Yeah, and we see, he's deflecting the blaster bolts. He's cutting the stormtroopers down, and they make their escape. They get disguises, and they walk out of the place. Then Reva catches up to them. She taunts them, but they're saved by was it Wade and the other girl?
It's Waze, right?
No, it's Wade.
Wade, okay.
Hold on, I have their name right
here. They come in on the. These are the snow speeders from Hoth or something else?
They're the same type. So they're T-47 speeders, but they're actually not snow speeders. It's just a little interesting thing that I think a lot of people don't know about is that the speeders from Hoth are not snow speeders. They're T-47 speeders that were modified for the snow, and you actually hear them talking about it in the movie, how they have to modify them for the snow. So these are like the standard issue for these speeders, just like a cool connection. Yeah, let me see here. Sully is the other rebel. So we have Wade, Sully, and then Roken's kind of like the head guy that we see back at base. But Wade and Sully come and save Obi-Wan. They jump in there, and Reva gets a little shot off at Wade with the fuel cell, and he blows up, which is kind of sad, but we didn't really know him that well, so whatever. But yeah, we see they get away. Darth Vader is probably the angriest we've ever truly seen him on screen. He's walking at a pretty quick pace that I don't think we've ever seen him walk that fast before. He force chucks Reva, and she reveals that they put a tracker on their ship, which Dad over here predicted. Classic Star Wars trope, like I've been saying, the tracker on the ship,
How many movies or TV shows of Star Wars have they put trackers on ships to let somebody get away?
I would say at least 7.
Yeah, a lot.
But yeah, Lola's now kind of evil, I guess. She's a tracker, so we're gonna see what the Empire does to wherever they discover Obi-Wan going to, and we're gonna figure out how Obi-Wan becomes Ben Kenobi in A New Hope. So his transformation. Now I wanna talk about one thing, is the idea of the binge versus the weekly release, which is kind of something I've seen come up after the Stranger Things release. How they released the first 7 episodes, and then they're gonna release the next 2, their final 2, in a month, which I thought was interesting, and it caused a lot of debate I've seen of like weekly releases or a full binge release, and I feel like there's definitely an interesting argument for both. But I see Obi-Wan kind of has a lot of problems with the fact that it's not like a full release, and kind of the Book of Boba Fett too, I feel like had a similar problem, but not as bad as Kenobi. How things like the Grand Inquisitor being stabbed, people like freaking out and like crying in their beds that the Grand Inquisitor got stabbed, and they think that Rebels has been retconned, and I don't know. It's like ridiculous stuff I've seen, and they had to come out and explicitly say that there will not break canon, which is something that I don't think needs to be said. But if Obi-Wan wasn't a weekly release and it was just a binge, that probably would never exist because we would know his fate. Like other things like Obi-Wan's progression wouldn't be as big of a problem because we see him weak now, but obviously he's going to be stronger and wiser by the end of this because they're going to connect it to A New Hope, which is the whole point of this series, is bringing from 3 to 4 Obi-Wan. And there's a couple other things, but those are like my main.
I would say I'm gonna, I prefer the binge. That's what I got trained on from Netflix. I know not Disney and others are not necessarily doing the binge. To your point, even Netflix now is doing, I feel like, half a season here and half a season there, and some of the network shows have done that. I personally hate that. I want it all at once, and that's what Netflix has trained me to do. And and then they must do it to generate more money and more ratings. But myself, I want to sit down. Maybe I'll watch 2 episodes. Maybe I'll watch 8, or maybe I'll watch a half of one. But I'd love to have that option at my discretion to watch the whole thing if I have my druthers. But it seems to be that the trending is half a season here, half season in a couple weeks, or 6 episodes here, 2 episodes in a couple weeks. That's not my cup of tea.
I don't like what they did with Better Call Saul, the release. They do weekly releases, and then they're having a break, which wasn't even the original plan. Yeah. But I like weekly releases. It's just bad for the story element, but everything else I think it's good for. I like having something to look forward to every week. I like learning a little bit more is revealed. We have some cliffhangers that could be fun. It's only going to be a week until you learn. It's not like a whole month. I don't mind weekly releases as long as it is weekly until it finishes. There's not like a break or anything. And problem, it gets everyone talking about it, and everyone's pretty much on the same pace as well. With binging, someone could be at a different area than you, or some people just don't want to start because it's a daunting task to watch everything at once, to not be spoiled. And then people who watch everything at once can't talk about it because then they'll spoil someone else. But it also creates a problem with story elements that we don't know how they end. People free. I guess it's some of the fans who are a little jumpy that kind of make me wary of these weekly releases, because people are freaking out about things that will obviously be solved later, like Grand Inquisitor's death or their character progression, which is something we're going to see, or backstories and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my rant about binge versus weekly.
So predictions for the end of the series, Dean. Now we've seen 2/3 of it. Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we got 5 and 6 over the next couple of Wednesdays, and then Dean and I will be back in a couple of weeks to wrap it all up. But what are your predictions for the last 2 parts, at least for this I don't know, season, if you want to call it that?
Okay, I would say we're definitely getting Reva's backstory for sure. I'd be surprised if we didn't get that. We're getting Leia being returned to Alderaan, which, that's something that basically has to happen. I think we're getting a connection between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. There's no way they would drop Qui-Gon this much for him not to show up, and I know Liam Neeson is already fine with doing stuff like this. So that's probably going to happen. I would be surprised if we didn't get another Obi-Wan and Vader duel, where it ends off with Vader thinking Obi-Wan is dead, but he's faked his death. I would bet money on that we get another duel. That would end that way. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. We're going to get explanation to what happened to Grand Inquisitor. He lived.
Oh, spoiler alert, Dean.
Yeah, spoiler alert. If you literally have seen any promotional material for Rebels, you'll be fine. Go watch Rebels on the house. Tip your waiters, too. Let's see. What else we got? I'm sure. I feel like we're going to get one more major cameo that isn't Qui-Gon, like Quinlan Vos or Cal Kestis or something like that. I think another cameo is probably going to happen within the last 2 episodes. Maybe a Luke Skywalker moment at the end, like Mandalorian, but I don't know about that. But I think it'll show up. And then we're going to see Obi-Wan transition to being a New Hope Obi-Wan, who's more wise. And also Reva's going to die. I'd be surprised if she'd not die.
Oh, wow. Dropping major things, go out on a limb there.
She doesn't show up anywhere else, so she pretty much has to die.
At some point. You think we're going to see a season 2 Obi-Wan? Has that been green lighted yet?
They've been talking about
green lit, I should say. I guess
they've been talking about more than they have Boba Fett season 2, so it's definitely pretty possible. But I don't know what they would do, because they'd have to end the series in a very specific way for it to be able to be continued. So it'd have to be completely different, like how I think if Book of Boba Fett were to have a season 2, it would have to be completely different from season 1. And it'd be, I don't know. So I don't know if I want to see a season 2, because I feel like I'd rather them just make something else, because I feel like this story.
I think there has to be a season 2. I can't see them wrapping everything up from now in the next 2 episodes.
I just think that a season 2 would be more boring, because they can't have them be doing too much, or else it would break what's happening in A New Hope. I don't think he could encounter Vader again, unless it took literally place right after the season, and they left us on a cliffhanger, which I hope they never do. I don't want a cliffhanger season thing. end season cliffhanger. I don't think they've ever done that before, and they better not do that, because that would suck, and that's not very Star Wars of them. But I don't know how they would work in a season 2 and make it interesting without like completely leaving stuff out from season 1. So I feel like if they had a season 2, they would have to plan these last 2 episodes to coordinate to make a season 2.
Okay. Well, Dean and I are going to be back in a couple of weeks to wrap up part 5 and 6. A couple things I want to mention before I forget. I saw Hitchhiking Bones in the chat earlier before the stream started, so make sure you go over and check out their channel. I know they're doing some Star Wars Obi-Wan reactions, so enjoy that channel. Give a shout out to Hitchhiking Bones. Also, make sure and check out Monarch Moments. Garrett, Michelle, Gabe, and Hannah. They have a great channel. We're usually in their chat, and we watch that quite a bit. I think you'll enjoy it, so check them out, as well as Movie Mania Nick. So Nick has a good channel, focused a lot on movies, and I've seen several of his reviews. And now that I've seen Top Gun, I need to go back, and I think you have a Top Gun review, do you not, Nick? And then I'm sure you're probably working on Jurassic Park next if you don't have it up yet. I'm hearing mixed things on Jurassic Park, but I'm not sure. What else do we want to say, Dean? Recent videos that we have out. We just went to Universal Studios over Memorial Day weekend, so make sure and check out. We did a food review at Mythos inside the park Greek restaurant. We did a full hotel review at the Hard Rock. That was a lot of fun. Maddie dressed up as Vector. I should share my screen because it's probably better with the visual cues. Let's see here.
Sharing that one.
That's fine. That's what I want to share.
Okay.
So you see her latest vlogs. Hard Rock, Mythos, Vector. That was a lot of fun. Maddie nailed Vector and got to meet him after the parade. We did a live stream. You can see the tribute store in the live stream, the new summer 80s tribute store. E.T., Jaws, Back to the Future. Nick, I know you're in that stream, and a ton of Back to the Future Easter eggs in that room. So that was a lot of fun. Six Flags over Georgia. Madison and I just went to Whitewater yesterday, so you'll see a vlog coming up from the South's biggest water park. And then I also have some vlogs to edit from the Braves. We did a club seating tour. Chris and I went to club seats. We reviewed those, the Braves Stadium, Atlanta Braves baseball team. And then also went to Savoy Auto Museum, which is newer here, unbelievable. And need to edit that one in time for Father's Day. So, oh, cool. All right, Nick, I'll look for the review. Looking forward to seeing it. All right. And Mickey Bunch tomorrow. That's the other thing I want to forget. Kelly's going to be on the Creator Corner Volume 2. You can find it on our channel. Just hit the notify me, ring the bell, sorry. And looking forward to having Kelly on and talking about her YouTube journey and any favorite vlog she has, and maybe a tech tip or two. That's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Leave a comment and to consider subscribing if you are new. Let me remove that from the screen. And with that, I appreciate everybody joining. Don't leave yet, because we're going to watch Star Wars: A Galaxy Far, Far Away. Full show, front row from Hollywood Studios. They ended the show a couple years ago. It has a lot of cool characters, some pyro, and music. Awesome. So if you're on Team Replay, I'm probably going to cut this out of the replay. But thank you for watching so much. Well, I'll just come back and wrap it up quickly after the show is over. But thanks so much for joining. Thanks for much support of the channel. Channel's growing, and I appreciate everybody's input and appreciate everybody's time. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And if I forget to say it tomorrow, happy Father's Day next weekend for all the dads out there. Right, Dean?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done your Father's Day shopping yet?
Mm-hmm.
What the? All right, well, you better get on that.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
Here we go. Let me find. Share system audio. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to get that in a second, Dean.
All right.
I'm just gonna film that.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. There's no mystical energy field controlled by it.
And who might you be?
Leia. I'm Luke Skywalker here to rescue you.
In time, you will call me faster.
We're impossibly outnumbered.
I don't think so.
Get ready!
Okay, for what?
Leia spark that'll light the fire and hold the First Order down.
I won't let them win. All right, it's a trap. You and the chosen one. Use the Force.
Feel the Force around you. Through the Force, things you will see. Other places, the future, the past.
R2-D2, where are you? My goodness.
I am C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations, and this is my counterpart, R2-D2. I am fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. Secret mission? Plans? What are you talking about? Exciting is hardly the word I would choose. You watch your language. I'm going to regret this. Wait for me!
The Force, life created, makes it grow.
It's the energy between all things, the tension, balance that binds the universe together.
The Force will be with you, always. Always two there are. No more, no less. The shroud of the dark side has fallen.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Unsold. I'm Captain Millennium Fall.
What a piece of junk!
She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid.
This fucking bolt is never gonna get us past that one thing.
Don't worry. Jimmy, baby, hold again.
Blow that piece of junk out of the sky!
Might wanna buckle up, baby.
Every ship isn't for everyone. She needs a particular type of pilot.
who finds the Millennium Falcon. You are free to use any methods necessary. I want them alive. No disintegration control.
I had no choice. They arrived right before you did. I'm sorry.
He's all yours from now.
You can run, but you can't hide. We'll meet again. Count on it.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. If once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. Consume you, it will.
Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force.
You don't know the power of the dark side. Join me. It is your destiny. When you look at the dark side, careful you must be, for the dark side looks back.
I can teach you the power of the dark side. When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power.
Today is the end of the Republic. All remaining systems will bow to the First Order.
It seems we have a deserter. One of our troops has abandoned his unit.
Show me again the power of the darkness. But I will let nothing stand in our way.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
The time to fight is now!
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
The power that we are dealing with here is immeasurable.
We must face them. Fight them.
You don't know a thing about me.
I have lived long enough to see the same eyes in different people. Hope is not lost today. It is found.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it. The Jedi. The Jedi. They're real.
I need someone to show me my place in this.
The rebellion is reborn today. The war is just beginning. I will not be the last Jedi.
Ready? All right, let me turn that one off. All right, Dean, until the next adventure, what do you want to say?
May the adventures be with you.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for joining so much.
Come back tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Mickey Bunch. We hope to see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and
Ringing a bell.
so you'll be notified of our next upload. And as always, may the adventures be with you.